Okay. Now, Rafi is going to be doing a sort of more of an overview, it being his day job, as it were, in a sense. Being a simple artisan as I am, I'm concentrating on the issue of where we are now and the sort of campaigns and what we really need to be focusing on at the moment, which should really come after. Would be better after obviously, but since we're struggling with technology at the moment, so I'll start. So the issue, so I think we need to say, so where are we now, what do we need to be doing about it? Firstly, we're economically in an extremely deep hole, which the whole political class appears to be determined should be dug very much deeper. And but not only do they want it dug deeper, they want us to do the digging. And not only that, they want us to buy the shovels to do the digging with. So when I wrote Confronting the Crisis pamphlet in the spring, in response to last winter's financial crisis, now I suggest that what we now need to be doing is to be planning for how to respond to the counterattacks, how we're going to develop counterattacks to respond to the attacks that are going to come on working people in order to pay for the crisis, and particularly the poorest, most vulnerable in society, as the ruling class attempts to respond to that crisis. So I want to sketch out the sort of arguments and the sort of demands that we should be making. And I think there are 4 things that we need to plug on over and over again. 4 messages. 1, cuts aren't necessary. Huge cuts in public spending that are going to be attempted to be made aren't necessary. Those cuts will be counterproductive. They'll make the situation worse. Reducing inequality is both socially desirable and economically beneficial. And fourthly, a huge program of environmentally sustainable infrastructural renewal is both necessary and affordable, and can improve the lives of ordinary people in measurable ways in human terms. So the first thing to say is that we're experiencing, that you can't move. When you open the paper, one almost gets hay fever from the amount of green shoots that appear from the pages. And indeed, to some degree, there is, a technical recovery, but it's only a technical recovery. A slight twitch of growth in manufacturing, but eventually, manufacturing industry has used up much of its stock and does really need to produce more. House prices have bottomed out for a bit, and a trickle of buying is going on because some people do really need to buy and sell their houses and move. And share prices, the big thing, of course, is that share prices are moving up again and have gone through, the FTSE has gone through 5,000. In real terms, the British Chamber of Commerce has said about a week ago that they now expect the economy to shrink by getting on 4.5% this year, more than the 3.8% they expected in June, and unemployment is continuing to rise. John Maynard Keynes said something that could apply very well to our current situation in 1930 in response to the Great Depression. He said, "The duration of the slump may be much more prolonged than most people are expecting, and much will be changed both in our ideas and our methods before we emerge. Not, of course, the duration of the acute phase of the slump, but that of the long, dragging conditions of semi-slump." And that's what, in a sense, I suggest we can expect. So, preventing the collapse that nearly took a year ago, spot on, the collapse that has been taken at a huge cost. The intervention to prop up the financial sector has increased the GDP by over 141 billion, and it has served to bring the level of public debt up to 56% plus GDP. And in August, the Bank of England, its quantitative easing programme went upwards again by an extra 50 billion of gilt purchases, and Mervyn King actually wanted to put that up another 25, up to a total of 200 billion. So this King's fear, of course, is that is not inflation, it's not of high levels of debt, it's of deflation. The risk of deflation for an economy like ours is a prolonged period of is that real value of debts by individuals will actually go up. And the trouble about our economy is that we've got the highest level of personal debt in Europe, by 1.4 trillion, and it's standing at about 17% of national income, about twice the European level. So the finance sector and the Westminster Village are busily calling for cuts in public spending. And of course, this is ludicrous, you know, that they create the problem and then expect us to pay for it. It's an extreme case of privatising profits and nationalising losses. So over the next few months until the election, there'll be an ever-growing clamour for cuts in services. The Institute of Directors has called for a pay freeze on the state pension, 10% in the cuts in the size of the civil service, 10% on non-frontline staff, whoever they are in national health, cuts in free bus passes for the elderly and disabled, the abolition of child benefit, and the abolition of free TV licences. And they'll probably be demanding that all children under the age of 8 send up chimneys. So clearly, after the election, whoever wins, there will be a series of attacks on public spending, and that will be our battleground. And that's what we have to prepare for. So I suggest that we need a two-fold response. Firstly, we must take control of the banking system. And secondly, we need a dramatic programme to stimulate the economy in order to develop in a sustainable direction. Now, a year ago, the New Economics Foundation, which is a green neo-Keynesian think tank associated with the Green Party, produced the Green New Deal pamphlet, which says that the crisis is not just financial, it's a triple crunch, a combination of the banking crisis, ongoing and ever-growing threat of climate change, and the imminent approach of peak oil. They said these three overlapping events threaten to develop into a perfect storm, and what they proposed was a structural transformation of regulation of national and international finance systems, major changes and secondly, major changes of taxation systems, and secondly, a sustained programme to invest in and deploy energy conservation and renewable energies coupled with effective demand management. The problem with that programme and all the variations that have come out is that everybody seems to have a Green New Deal. TUC's got one, the UN's got one, everybody seems to have one. Is that really they all fail on three main counts. Firstly, it simply aims at further regulation of the banking and finance system rather than its seizure and transformation. Secondly, it doesn't take the issue of inequality anything like seriously enough. And thirdly, its programme for infrastructural investment isn't nearly ambitious enough and doesn't follow through to its logical extensions in terms of restructuring industry, which are very radical indeed. So there's an urgent need to redistribute, well, obviously, wealth away from corporate profits and towards wages and income, not only because justice demands that, but because in fact it was a shift from wages to profits that marked the great change and the great development of financialisation of industry. So, first of all, Macduff and Foster Monthly Review produced a very good book on the process, and say